Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yup, what's good, original crew, man? We're back today, man. We have another visual from Just Thought Lounge. Those are you like the Just Thought Lounge video, see?
I do.
They're more way more, I feel like, in depth than the other body cams we do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, hold on, y'all, real quick. We've been trying to look for like other body cams and stuff to do, y'all. For those who don't know, C said some of them ain't giving what they're supposed to be giving. You did though. You did. Don't act like you did. You did. You said.
What I say? Say what
you
I
like.
said.
You like particular channels better.
I only said that after you said what you said, and I don't
what
know
I
what
say.
you said, but I know you said something.
I said they all right. You know what I'm saying? I like more. You're like,
I just said I like the ones like that just have a little bit more detail.
More like with the story. You don't like it just like I don't know what's going on.
Just
I
straight
ain't got no
point.
backstory. See, like the, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I need the whole build up.
Like,
I need everything.
I need all the details. Give me all the D. Is it D? No, pause.
That's what you want.
Nah, chill.
Come on, let's go.
You know you doing.
No, you doing the most.
No, you doing the most. I ain't said not a word.
You said give me all the D.
No, I said no. No, chill.
I just laugh.
Hey, with that being said, man, today's video, man, we have She Laughed in His Face on Valentine's Day. The murder of Anitra Gunn. That I ain't gonna hold you. Sometimes I know we all like you learn as you get older, you know what I'm saying? Learn how to like special situational awareness, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like sometimes we all can do things like so like crazy, especially when we're like at an immature level. Like you can be 21, 23, 24 and still be at an immature level of situational awareness. To laugh in somebody's face on Valentine's Day, especially somebody who that's a life or death. That could be life or death.
But it shouldn't, because people need to learn how to.
But it's also like you gotta. It's situational awareness.
Yeah.
Like
let's get into it.
But hey, with that being said, before we get into it, make sure you check out the links in the description box
down below.
You already know where to go if you want the first part. You gotta do it. Check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's visuals,
lock it in with a thumbs up.
Hey, let's go, man. Let's check it out. Also, if you're new to the channel and haven't already, man, make sure you lock it in with a subscribe, man. Join the family, join the fun for us here today. But let's go. Let's check it out, y'all.
In the winter of 2020 in Fort Valley, Georgia, university senior Anitra Gunn was looking forward to graduating. While still studying and working part-time, the thoughtful and hardworking 23-year-old was lining up job interviews and celebrating milestones with friends. All of this came to an abrupt end on Valentine's Day, when friends began reporting strange messages received from Anitra's phone, followed by silence. Her distressed father rushed from Atlanta, while a task force was formed to search for her. The sheriff declared that no stone would be left unturned, as they put together all the pieces and sought justice for Anitra Gunn. Hi there, I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge. Today's case is about a murder in Georgia just a few years ago that shook the local community to the core. It's a cautionary tale, one that resonates with many who have seen these warning signs before. Let's take a look. In the winter of 2020, 23-year-old Anitra Gunn was a senior at Fort Valley State University in Fort Valley, Georgia. She was a graduate of Westlake High School in Atlanta. After the death of her mother when she was still a child, Anitra and her younger brother had been raised by their father, Christopher Gunn. In 2016, Anitra had relocated to Fort Valley to study agriculture at FVSU. Between full-time study and a part-time job as a server at 1836 Restaurant and Lounge, Anitra kept busy. The fun-loving and kind-hearted senior also maintained an active social life, and she was always in contact with her family, including her father back in Atlanta. On the morning of February 14th, Valentine's Day, Anitra's best friend, Sierra Stewart, awoke late to a series of messages from her friend. The exchange began pleasantly. They sent Happy Valentine's Day greetings. But then Sierra began to receive a few uncharacteristic messages. Texts from her phone stated that she was looking to hook up with someone she just called Dude. Anitra was known to be in only one relationship, an on-again and off-again romance with 22-year-old U.S. Army Sergeant DeMarcus Little. But her message implied it was someone else that she was about to meet up with. Sierra was supportive of her friend, and she was not a fan of DeMarcus Little. He was trouble, and their relationship was unstable. Over the next few hours, Sierra would grow increasingly more concerned for Anitra. By midday, she had been contacted by a mutual friend named David Howard. She knew him as Scoot. Had she heard from Anitra? Scoot asked. He had also been receiving strange messages from her that morning. And DeMarcus claimed he was no longer with her and had no idea where she was. Something was not right. Sierra phoned Christopher Gunn in Atlanta. Before he set out from Atlanta, Christopher Gunn requested a check on his daughter's home on West Church Street. Fort Valley police found no one at the house. Anitra's car, a 2013 white Chevy Cruze, was also missing. By that time, the strange messages from Anitra's phone had ceased. They began with texts to Scoot around 8:30 a.m., messages to Sierra about the unknown man between 10 and 11 a.m., and then the phone went quiet. Messages from concerned family and friends came in, but no responses were received. When Christopher arrived in Fort Valley, he formally filed a missing persons report. A task force was formed, consisting of the Fort Valley Police, the Peach County Sheriffs, and the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. Anitra's last confirmed location was the house of her boyfriend's aunt on Chestnut Hill Road. The two had spent the night of February 13th at the house. He was the last person to see Anitra before she disappeared. Due to this, DeMarcus Little became a suspect to the media and the public immediately.
This is the last place she was seen Thursday night about 11:30.
Okay.
The aunt confirmed she was here with her boyfriend. It's the last place she was seen. So what we're doing today is basically we're fixing to search this house to make sure there's nothing there that we need to see. And we're just going to start from here and work our way out. We got the GSP helicopter flying the woods, just looking for anything we can find. Right now, everybody that knew her is a person of interest until we're kind of whittling that list down.
Has the boyfriend been questioned?
Yes, ma'am.
He's not in custody, is he?
No, ma'am.
The night before she went missing, Anitra attended a house party with a couple of girlfriends. When she left at roughly 11 p.m., however, she did so with one of her girlfriends, Tracy King, as well as her sometimes boyfriend, DeMarcus Little, and his good friend, Javon Abram. The group traveled to DeMarcus's home for a few hours. At some time past 2 a.m., Javon dropped Anitra and DeMarcus off at her house on West Church Street so that she could retrieve her car. The couple separated from their other friends at that point and went to a Waffle House. Afterwards, they traveled back to the house on Chestnut to stay the night. DeMarcus told police that he last saw Anitra leaving at about 11:30 a.m. the next day. She told him that she had a job interview, so he assumed that was her destination when she left. Anitra did have an interview scheduled that day at 9:30 a.m. Had she left the house when DeMarcus claimed she had, she would have already been 2 hours late. 22-year-old DeMarcus Little was picked up outside of the house and brought in for questioning. His vehicle, a 2019 black Toyota Corolla with red pinstripes, was towed off the property for a forensic examination.
That's red alarming right there, because what it was he knew that she had
An interview.
He didn't know the time.
Yeah.
And he just guesstimated, said, "Oh, she left my house at
11:30.
11:30." But they can follow up with that.
Right.
Red flags, red flags, red flags. That's all I see. What about you?
Yep. So far.
But that could be assumption,
just be, yeah.
because it has mentioned her involvement in two different dudes.
Mm-hmm.
A guy she just say dude,
Mm-hmm.
and then her boyfriend, right?
Mm-hmm.
But those are not the same individuals.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other dude? She said Scoot. The Scoot was just a friend.
Yeah, he's just a friend.
DeMarcus was an Army sergeant who had grown up in Fort Valley. He joined the Army back in 2016, but in December 2019 had moved to Fort Eisenhower, at the time known as Fort Gordon, in Augusta. There, he worked as a unit supply specialist. He and Anitra had been an item for some time. At first, it had seemed to be a great match. DeMarcus, just like Anitra, had lost his mother when he was young. He was raised by his father and stepmother. He had two sisters whom he adored and a generally close-knit family.
If you use one word to describe him,
Just caring and loving. Very.
With a burgeoning career in the military, DeMarcus appeared on paper to be a great catch. But as investigators began speaking with those closest to Anitra, they learned that the relationship had been a toxic one for months. This view was not shared by those close to DeMarcus.
Thing happened because they said they
I
talked.
don't know, but it's God got this. God, he the judge and the jury.
When you're innocent, you stain.
You guys think he's innocent?
Yes, no doubt. We know
It's a fact, baby.
very close relationship with her. She was just like a niece to me.
Anitra's 2013 white Chevy Cruze was located only a few blocks away from her house, its front bumper missing. There was mud and other debris stuck to the tires. Just the day before, Javon had collected his friend DeMarcus from a location nearby and had pointed out the car to him. "Isn't that Anitra's car?" he asked.
Hold on, what? Hold on, my bad.
She was just like a niece to me.
Anitra's 2013 white Chevy Cruze was located only a few blocks away from her house, its front bumper missing. There was mud and other debris
From the auntie house. Or from
her
her house.
Her house.
Okay.
stuck to the tires. Just the day before, Javon had collected his friend DeMarcus from a location nearby and had pointed out the car to him. "Isn't that Anitra's car?" he asked. DeMarcus blew him off. "Of course it wasn't," he said. Her wallet and keys were inside the vehicle. Curiously, her cell phone was not. Processing of the car found DeMarcus's finger and palm prints inside and on the trunk. An examination of his vehicle similarly returned DNA from Anitra. Given that
But that's on that end, that's not 100% good, strong evidence. In
Right,
court.
they just
'Cause
put it out there.
Yeah.
But,
I'm just saying.
because they name each other cars in and out, back and forth. Yeah.
the two had been romantically linked for months, these results were not surprising. What was unexpected was DeMarcus's claim, made 24 hours into the search for his ex-girlfriend, that he just remembered that Anitra had accidentally shared her phone location with him the day before. He said her device had pinged not far from her home on West Church. It showed at a location on South Camellia Boulevard. When Officer Whitehead of the Fort Valley Police checked his device for this information, however, he found that was not the case. Her phone had actually pinged roughly 5 minutes further south of Camellia Road, on Carver Drive. There, tucked into the end of a drainage pipe, police retrieved Anitra's cell phone. The county, city, and state task force continued their search, spanning from Chestnut Drive through rain and shine. When the weather turned rough, they kept the helicopters out of the air, but deputies continued to navigate dense areas of woodland on the ground. A Peach County Sheriff's deputy was patrolling the area when he spotted a path leading off of the main roadway, which appeared to have been disturbed by a vehicle driving down it towards the trees. He got out of his car and explored the path on foot. A few minutes into the walk, there were more indications of a vehicle swiping nearby trees and damaging the vegetation.
Bumper.
Under a light covering of tree limbs and other brush, the deputy discovered the body of a young woman.
Wow.
It had been poorly concealed amongst the trees. Near to the deceased were damaged car parts, namely part of a bumper from what appeared to be a 2013 white Chevy Cruze.
Wow.
Today at 3:19, deputies and members of the task force were out riding because of the weather. We couldn't get the helicopter up, so they were just riding, looking. We had an idea of the bushes and sticks that were in the front of the grill of her car. So the deputies were kind of looking for those areas. The area he found her at, he saw something similar, a little roadway going down into the woods. Rode down in till the car wouldn't go anymore because of the rain. About 150 yards off the roadway, he found the piece of the car, part of the car piece that we've been looking for. Found Miss Gunn laying very close to part of that front bumper.
How long have any persons of interest?
I think it's pretty common sense who our person of interest is.
Can you say it
And
though
who
out
is
loud?
that?
It's the boyfriend. I mean, we've talked to him 3 times.
An autopsy would find that Anitra had been strangled. There were also indications that she had been struck at least once in the head and that her body had likely been dragged into the position where she was found. On Wednesday, February 19th, only a few days after Anitra was located, DeMarcus Little was arrested. However, he was not at that stage charged with murder. Property was damaged at Anitra's house roughly 2 weeks before she was killed. It was on this charge that he was arraigned. At about 3 a.m.
They do that so they can hold you, have something to hold you in. You can't run, you can't hide.
Right.
We gotta make sure we know where you at.
On February 5th, Anitra and her friend Scoot, who was staying over at the house, were both awoken by a loud shattering noise. Initially believing that one of the pets had caused the disturbance, they ignored it. The next morning, after Scoot walked home, Anitra called the police to report that the tires on her car had been slashed and bricks had been thrown through 2 windows of the house. She told law enforcement that she did not know who could have done it, though it was actually the second time that someone had pierced her tires in the night.
Your sign is a person of interest, also that this Anitra's death. What do you have to tell people?
Well, basically, we're here today for granted bond hearing for criminal damage to property. And we're just glad that he was granted bond for that particular matter. And so he can get back to his career in the United States Army. But it just hurt me to see him come in shackles like that, like he's a criminal. My son's never done anything to anyone. He didn't do this incident. I can sympathize with the family, I truly do. I have daughters. I even have one in college, and something like that would happen to her, I would be devastated. But my son didn't do this. He was raised the right way. He's not violent, never been in a fight, never having a criminal background. He's a good kid, a good soldier, serving our country proudly.
Does it annoy you that he's a person of interest?
It mostly annoys me how certain media and social media and certain people in society have destroyed him and slandered his name. They don't really know the real DeMarcus Little. The real DeMarcus Little is a very humble young man. He made sergeant 3 years in the United States Army. He doesn't have anything on his background, any blemishes, nothing. Nobody can't say nothing bad about my son. He's been here on this earth 22 years, and can't no one say anything terrible about my son.
DeMarcus eventually admitted to police that he had slashed Anitra's tires and thrown bricks at her house. He had reacted in a rage when he discovered that she had a man staying overnight. Throughout this, he maintained his innocence of the murder. The Army sergeant was offered a $10,000 bond and release with an ankle monitor, but he would be charged with malice murder only hours later, before he could be released from the county jail. And he wasn't alone. His longtime friend, Javon Abram, was arrested as well on 2 counts of giving false statements to law enforcement and 1 count of concealing a death. When DeMarcus...
So don't tell me this motherfucker
Javon
knew.
knew.
Because that's the one he said he was riding. He was like, ain't that her car?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's the one in the military with her, right?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess.
Cause they would.
I
Were
didn't...
both of them in that picture together with the little hot top
Yeah,
and they
I guess
flexing?
so, yeah.
Kind of a little weird too, though. But
interesting.
And 1 count of concealing a death.
That's crazy.
When DeMarcus went to trial in March 2022 at a Peach County courthouse, it was his former friend who he had claimed was like a brother to him who would become the star witness.
Javon will tell you that DeMarcus Lewis then struck Anitra, hit her, and choked her. Choked her to death.
Could he possibly actually helped him dispose of the body too?
Could have. Or
dispose of the car? Because they was trying to.
or
the phone.
Car, did you pick him up from somewhere?
True.
Did you you know what I'm saying?
Because the car was abandoned. So did you go on feet?
Because with what they're saying, did you see this, or is this something that he told you?
Or did you're accessory at some point?
Yeah.
I feel like
That's
because he ain't commit the murder, but he ain't gonna tell you how involved he is.
Yeah.
Defense attorney Benjamin Davis argued that DeMarcus Little was not the kind of person who could commit murder. He was an upstanding and humble man, a soldier serving his country. Conversely, prosecutor Neil Halverson described an at times toxic relationship between DeMarcus and Anitra, filled with control, threats, manipulation, and possessiveness on his part. The romance that had first appeared so perfect on paper had become a nightmare from which Anitra could not escape. Days at trial were spent reading the couple's messages, exchanged over months leading up to her death. Anitra described him as an evil, manipulative person. Anitra wrote that she was tired of DeMarcus's threats and abuse. She tried to distance herself from him, but over and over again, he worked his way back in. His messages repeatedly accused Anitra of being with another man. On November 1st, Anitra wrote that they should stop speaking to each other altogether. She told him that every time they talk, she ends up being manipulated. Days later, DeMarcus threatened suicide. He blamed her for pushing him to that point. Then he went silent for hours as Anitra reached out, concerned for his welfare. Eventually, DeMarcus replied to Anitra, telling her that his attempt on his life did not work.
That's what she's talking about.
That's the manipulation.
That's the controlness. And no, his family is not going to see that side of him.
No.
You know, like, that's not the side. Like, there's no relationship between y'all for him to show you that side.
Yeah.
That side of him happens amongst women and maybe friends. Maybe they'll see that side of him.
Yeah.
But the women, like any woman that he's like trying to, they would see that. You know? She tried to separate herself from him.
Yeah.
He didn't want to do that. Why? You felt as though you can go out here and get another woman? Like, it's so many, and a lot of times, even in that situation, a lot of them, they be having another chick on the side. It's just, I don't want you to be able to be with nobody, though.
Yeah.
But his manipulative tactics did. Within days of this alleged attempt on his life, the line of communication between the two reopened. On Anitra's birthday in November, he told her that he was sparing the man that he believed she was going out with that night. The two had broken up at that point. Nonetheless, DeMarcus threatened any man he believed she was spending time with. He even sent her a screenshot of a message he wrote to an unknown individual, offering them $200 to harm Anitra's alleged date. He told her, "We're going to have problems if you go out with him, OMM, on my mama." At times, he threatened her life directly, stating that his mercy has limits after he accused her again of texting with another man.
Oh, yeah. That's the type of stuff she should have been. She most definitely should have got either went to her father about this situation, honestly, she should have went to the police. Even her tires being slashed, she kept saving your ass. She always knew it was your ass fucking with her.
But you know something, even what you said, we've seen time and time again. She could have went to her father, and I guess the only other thing that could have possibly been done with that is for her to transfer schools. Because they're in the same.
But also, she wouldn't want to do that because she's about to graduate. So
right, she's a senior, right?
Yeah.
So.
Because, especially like.
But I don't know how long this has been going on.
Yeah.
Either. So that's the thing. So as far as if it's been going on for years, because I don't know how long they have been dating or whatever the case may be. She could have transferred earlier, but now she's a senior, right? Your father's in Atlanta. You are in Fort Valley. Yeah. I don't know how far, but he can't be there 24/7. Even with the police, women get restraining orders every day. That's never stopped a man. Men get restraining orders every day. That's never stopped a woman from doing something. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of, it sucks because it's like you don't have 24-hour, protection. Even trying to stop talking to someone, this person knows where you stay at. This person knows what you drive. This person knows where you go to school at. Like, it sucks.
And you want me to tell you, like, Loki, you can kind of sense that he is a coward because instead of you confront, like, you keep saying you got all these threats for all these guys, but then you catch her at the house with a guy instead of you confronting, be on what you talk about.
Yeah.
You bitched out and slashing tires. And busting windows. So you think you Jasmine Sullivan out here? I thresh your window.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's sad, man.
Like what kind of shit you on? You're not who you're trying to have control.
Yeah.
And honestly, in a situation like that, the best thing she could have done was to block him. But he's gonna keep trying to come back around.
I guess
not spend time with him. But he'll pop up on people like that. Will pop up in.
It's kind of like damn if you do, damn if you don't. Like you can only do so much. I could block you all day, not communicate with you. But then that'll anger you, and then you'll be trying to find out where I
pop
up and you already popped up in my house.
You know where I work at too. You'll pop up because I work at a restaurant.
You know what I'm saying?
You'll pop up in my job.
You know everything.
You probably pop up at my school.
I have no escape. Like I have, you know what I'm saying?
We're too close.
It's sad.
David Scoot Howard was a barber across the street from the 1836 restaurant and lounge where Anitra worked as a server. The 21-year-old lived in his family home only a few doors down from Anitra's house on West Church Street. Scoot told the jury that on the morning of February 14th, he was at home and he realized that he may have left his second cell phone at Anitra's house the night before. Scoot needed the phone for work, so he messaged Anitra, asking if she could look for it. The response he received back was bizarre. The text from Anitra's phone said to send his location and she would drive over to him at his house. Scoot testified that his home was so close to Anitra's that if he were to stand at the end of his driveway, he could clearly see Anitra's front door.
And he knows she'll already know where I stay at.
Right. So she would have even responded have responded back that way. You know what I'm saying? Even the don't come to my house. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the first message. It was like,
I was just saying, so don't come by my house. I need my phone, man.
That's cool, but I just want my phone. That's all.
Oh, don't come by my house. That was also him.
That was him responding. You're right.
Yeah.
He had her phone at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I say even the text is a little aggressive. Like, it don't even sound like.
So I wonder, did he commit the crimes at her house?
Maybe we'll get that info. Yeah.
Because I know he said something about, my bad. I know he said something about in the beginning them being at his auntie house at one point, but then they went back to her house. From her house, they went to Waffle House, and then came back to her house. And he was.
Well, I know they had went to a house party.
And after they left the house party at 11 o'clock, they ended up going to his auntie house. His auntie said she saw him there. And then they went
to Waffle House.
And they left from there, and they got dropped off at her house for her car. From her car, her and the friends separated. They went to the Waffle House, and I guess they went back to her house that night, and whatever happened probably happened inside her home. Or did he go back to her auntie? They stayed together that night, but I can't remember what they stayed at. Her house? I think
they stayed at his house on Chestnut, because she stays on West Church.
But I thought the auntie stayed at Chestnut, so he...
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I can't...
it may come back up.
Sorry.
There's too many details.
Yeah. This case does have a lot of details.
Now I'm trying to keep up the street names and... no.
Scoot testified that his home was so close to Anitra's that if he were to stand at the end of his driveway, he could clearly see Anitra's front door. She knew where he lived, and she certainly did not need to drive.
When you're getting this message, what were you thinking?
This ain't her.
Okay.
He tried calling her, but she didn't pick up. Scoot received messages stating that she just couldn't talk at the moment. Then, to add to his confusion, the following message seemed to be trying to break up with him. That was fine, he said, but the two were not involved. Scoot said they had only hung out a couple of times. He hesitated to even categorize them as friends because they were just getting to know each other. When the person with her phone asked again for his address, he responded that he wanted no part in whatever was going on.
Does it look like she's trying to break up with you?
Yeah, it like we go together, but it wasn't like that.
Okay.
By this time, Scoot was standing outside of his house. The person with Anitra's phone said they were on their way to him and to wait out front. He watched as a 2019 black Toyota Corolla with red pinstripes circled the block 5 or maybe 6 times.
Wow.
Concerned, he messaged Sierra Stewart. He informed her of the strange messages coming from Anitra's phone and texted over the license plate number of the black Corolla.
Okay.
Police would later match this tag to DeMarcus Little's vehicle.
Come on.
On the afternoon of Sunday, February 16th, Javon Abram and DeMarcus Little left church together and went for a drive. While in the car, Javon told the jury that DeMarcus freely confessed to him that he had strangled Anitra in the night. He had poured his heart out to her, he said. He told her that they were soulmates and how much he loved her. In response, he said, she had laughed at him. In the moments that followed, he claimed to have blacked out. The next morning, he had disposed of her body in the woods.
You can't confess to someone if you blacked out. You don't even know what the fuck you did. What is there to confess to? Because you won't even remember.
If you blacked out.
People love to use the term "I blacked out." No, you went into a full mode of rage. And honestly, she could have saw that coming a mile away. That he's obsessed with her.
And I was talking to him, and she was like, trying to tell her how I feel about how much I love her and stuff. He was like, she ended up laughing in my face. He was like, Brian, I don't know what happened. I just blacked out. And I don't hear him. And he was like, when he was like, after that, like, he just grabbed her and started choking her. One time she just stopped fighting, so he felt like she had wanted to be home, or she wanted to go with her mom. So he.
What?
He told you
He told you that?
that he had poured his heart out to Anitra. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that Anitra had laughed at him, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And that he had hit her?
Yes, ma'am.
And that he started to choke her?
Yes, ma'am.
And that she fought at first, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then he said to you that it looked like she just gave up because she wanted to be with her mother?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's her mother who's dead?
Yes, ma'am.
Javon came to realize that the following day, when he had picked up his friend near to where Anitra's car would be found, that he had assisted in covering up the murder. DeMarcus told him that he had placed her in the trunk of her car and then drove out towards Crawford County. The front bumper fell off in the rough terrain. Then he drove back to Fort Valley and parked the car a few blocks from her house. From that area, he called Javon for a ride, telling him at the time that the Chevy Cruze with the missing bumper could not have been his ex-girlfriend's car. DeMarcus told Javon that he kept Anitra's cell phone with him that morning, later disposing of it inside of a drainage pipe. Javon recounted how they drove out to Greer Road at the Peach County-Crawford County line, where Anitra had been left. There, he saw her body. In a state of shock, he refused to get out of the vehicle.
What?
DeMarcus retrieved part of the Chevy Cruze's front bumper, which sat nearby, and asked Javon to help him push it into the trunk. They drove it further out and disposed of it in a ditch off of another roadway. That portion of the bumper was eventually located in the area where Javon...
The boy's accessory to a homicide.
You are, that ain't your friend, they ain't never been your friend.
And tampering with evidence.
Because don't put me in nothing.
Honestly, he downplaying it. He's downplaying it so he can be able to go home.
Yeah, I know what he's doing. Because
that is his friend.
If it's happening...
That's his friend.
Man,
they locked in.
If it's happening how it's happening, soon I got away from him, I would have called. I would have called the authorities.
He was willing to take you to her. You seen her body. You still didn't call authorities. He called you to pick him up from where her car is. He confessed to you. He still had her phone. He's telling you too much. You're actively helping him get away with a homicide. But on a witness stand, so I can be able to, Sergeant, I'm a snitch. Sergeant, I'm trying to come home. I'm going to tell everything, but I'm going to take myself, I'm going to downplay my role in it. People have always done that.
They've always done that.
Even kids.
Don't put me in nothing. Don't tell me nothing.
Kids would tell the teacher something and downplay their role so it won't look so bad what they did, but look bad.
I tell you all the time, tell me anything, baby. Anything.
Look up.
Stated it would be. Further corroborating the friend's story was cell phone location data, both his device and DeMarcus's phone, which corresponded to the movements in Javon's version of events. This data did not correspond to the story that DeMarcus Little would tell the jury. Assistant District Attorney Don Baskin grilled DeMarcus on the inconsistencies between his story and the cell phone data. Location data placed him traveling from his aunt's home at 420 Chestnut to where Anitra was found off of Greer Road at the county line on Valentine's Day. DeMarcus testified that his transaction data and location tracking on either side of the hour he was in the woods was accurate, but he was never in the area where Anitra was found dead.
So every single cache location that we just talked about accurately showed where you were.
Those my whereabouts where I went, where I drove. Yes, ma'am.
So those same cache locations show at 103, you driving on Tanglewood Road, headed toward Greer Road. Is that correct?
No, ma'am.
So your phone went offline at that point?
I know where I went.
And then those same cache locations, which were right from noon until 1 o'clock and from 2:20 for the rest of the day, they then show you in the woods off Rear Road, correct?
No.
They don't show you there?
I wasn't in the woods.
No, that wasn't my question. My question was, do those cache locations, which you just testified were absolutely accurate with regards to your whereabouts between 12 and 1 and 2:20 to the rest of the night, those same cache locations show you in the woods off Rear Road, don't they?
Those were inaccurate.
Just those?
Yes.
But your phone shows you going from 420 Chestnut Hill Road to the woods off of Rear Road. Isn't that what happened, sir?
No.
And you got back in Anitra's car and you drove it over ditches and trees, causing the bumper to fall off, causing everything else to break apart, and you dumped your soulmate like garbage in the middle of the woods, didn't you, sir?
No, ma'am.
Just like your phone said you did. And then you drove back down her beaded car with a missing bumper and the missing wheel well, and you dumped her car just like you dumped her at the corner of Bell and Montrose, didn't you, sir?
No, ma'am.
Just like your phone said you did.
No, ma'am.
So your phone is lying.
I ain't really was, ma'am.
No, no, you can't. Them big ass ears, you can't hear shit.
DeMarcus's timeline became exceptionally confused when he attempted to explain where he was later in the morning of the 14th. At first, he told police that he had been at home around 11:30 a.m. when Anitra left his aunt's house on Chestnut. His messages at that time to Sierra, however, stated that he was out looking for Anitra. David Scoot Howard also spotted his car circling the block in Fort Valley around the same time.
What were you doing driving in your car, circling the block around where David Howard lives between 11:30 and 12:15?
I told you I went to look for Anitra.
Why? She left you 5 minutes before.
Because I want to see this she goes to me.
Boy sounded deranged. I wanted to see her before she go to her interview.
And that you even making
that's controlling and stalking.
I was about to say that
and
you even
some
making that
stalking type
statement
shit.
is controlling in itself. She just left you. Why would you have to see exactly? I just want to make sure she went to her interview. Make sure she ain't with no other dude. That's that because
deranged
be for real.
Motherfucker.
So when Anitra left, you followed her?
Weird ass niggas.
I don't remember the exact time, but
It's so hard, isn't it? You just told the jury a few minutes ago that you were actually just hanging out at the house.
Boy, the line can't even keep it live straight.
My question to you was, what did you do between 11 a.m. and 12:15?
I can't remember that.
You can't remember what you were doing.
I know I was at the house.
Okay. So when you say, I'll be back, you actually did leave the house then, correct?
Just moved.
Okay. And you did get in your car, and you did drive repeatedly by David Howard's address.
Correct. I don't know his exact address. I drove around the location.
And you were doing that with Anitra's phone, correct?
No,
It's weird because Anitra was texting David Howard at the exact same time. You're driving around asking where he is and what he looks like. You know, weird. It's like a coincidence. That's what we use before. You ever heard the old saying, the simplest explanation is usually the truth?
No.
The jury deliberated for about 3 hours.
I wouldn't even need it that long.
They had 3 counts to consider: malice murder, felony murder, and aggravated assault. If the jury came to the conclusion that DeMarcus had killed
malice murder, aggravated murder, and assault. Each state is different. First degree murder, premeditated.
Do you think it was premeditated?
It can be. It could have been.
What do you always tell me?
It's about intent. So did you go over there with the intent to kill her? But also, what defines intent? Because I've heard, like, literally,
and that's why
in 15 seconds, your intent can be made and you intend to kill someone.
And that's why when we have these conversations, and I always be like, that sounds like...
Because we had these conversations off camera too, y'all.
And I'd be like, oh, that sounds like... Sorry. That sounds like first degree to me. And you'd be like, well, no, because da-da-da-da. And I'm like... But I've seen cases where the person didn't have something planned for weeks or days.
Yeah.
It's in that, like, at that moment they made up their mind that they're going to, and they was able to determine that that's what it was, and they've gotten charged and convicted for
first degree.
For first degree, and then you have another case that's kind of similar, but it's just second degree. So
it's all about intent. Yeah,
and then, like I said, like you said, it depends on sometimes the state, I don't know. So with this, I can't say, because in that moment you said she laughed in your face, you hit her,
and your blink of an eye, you could have said, "I'm finna kill this bitch." So whatever actions you did was attempt to kill, so which is first degree murder, because you knew your action was gonna lead up to you killing her. So you knew, I'm doing this
even with you making a statement
with the intent to kill her.
She started fighting. I guess she wanted to be with her mom. You continue to.
You had an opportunity.
You had an opportunity to release and try to. You know what I'm saying? But
then somebody said it's second degree murder because he didn't come to the house with the intent to kill. So he went to the house with an intent to have a conversation.
That's why I said it's always tricky for me, and so I hate being asked those questions.
Yeah. I know. It's just legal But we have these conversations off camera too, y'all, because even cases happen that we don't do content on that we discuss about.
Anitra in a rage. They could apply the second count, which is appropriate if the killer acted without intent. Either murder count has the potential to carry the same sentence.
Okay.
Count 1, malice murder, read the jury find DeMarcus Devontae Little not guilty.
What?
For count 2, felony murder, read the jury find DeMarcus Devontae Little guilty. Count 3, aggravated assault, read the jury find DeMarcus Devontae Little guilty.
So he was not guilty on what?
Malice.
I think it's still malice though, but I have to go by the definition 100%.
Yeah, I have to go by the definition
because also when you in the jury room, like they literally give you the paperwork of which count, and they give you the wrote out definition, and they specify what you're supposed to be. So it's easy for them to, and that's the reason why the deliberation sometimes have to last this long.
No,
that's the reason why it lasted for 3 hours.
I
because
know.
they have to get the paperwork, and it's like, hey, does this falls on the criteria for malice murder?
I looked it up for Georgia.
So malice murder in Georgia involves intentionally killing another person with a malice state of mind. So honestly, it's really hard to determine whether he had a malice state of mind. You get what I'm saying?
It says, and it depends on like the details of the case, including any aggravated factors or the strength of the defense. So I don't know, like what I wonder, like what was. Like, when they were in the deliberation room, like, what was actually discussed for them to be like, that's definitely not... Because, like you said, they give them, like, break it down like this, that, maybe give them examples and stuff like that. So, with me not having that knowledge, so I don't really know anything about, like, when it comes to this and stuff like that. But
I will say, I feel like felony murder, most definitely.
Yeah.
And what was the other one?
Second.
No, I'm talking about film.
Oh,
aggravated.
Was it assault?
Aggravated assault. It was an aggravated assault.
Yeah.
That led up to a felony homicide. So, yeah.
Speaking about the case publicly following the verdict, Assistant District Attorney Don Baskin described the concerns the state had held when selecting jurors to hear the case. At the time, there was worry that some in the jury pool would be unable to place the blame for what had occurred squarely at the feet of the abuser. The victim had indeed returned to him on a number of occasions, despite his progressively more volatile behavior.
So you blame, in a lot of cases, a lot of people will try to blame the victim for their own death because they're like, hey, you had ample opportunity. This was stated that she had two incidents where he slashed your tires and bust your windows. He had multiple situations where he's doing life-threatening things. And instead of you running away or filing a police report against him, you kept going back to him. So it's
the first time she filed this, she said she didn't know who had did it, right?
I'm saying, but filing a report towards him, not just filing a report saying, hey, a lot of times you need to file a police report for insurance purposes. Mm-hmm. But you knew he did it. You probably just didn't have evidence, but you knew he did it. Also, he has made multiple threats against you. And instead of you filing a police report pertaining to the threats, it's like, did you really feel as though him being a threat to you? And that's the thing. It's very complicated.
It's very complicated. And I have so many examples, real life situations and examples going through my head right now. And I'm just like, I definitely get what you're saying. And it's, we'll be here all day, but yeah, I definitely get what you're saying. And you do have situations where a woman would know that a person is, for whatever reason, they are too weak to fully remove themselves out of a situation.
Men and women.
But I'm just saying, speaking since this is a woman, and the situations that's going through my head are women, and but
it sucks.
It's sad.
It sucks, but that is the mindset of a lot of people, where you will have a victim, and instead of sympathizing with the victim, you will blame the victim.
And me personally, I'm not going to sit and blame a victim, especially one that has lost their life. But everything is out there. You can see everything, and you shoulda, coulda, woulda. Damn, I wish you would have just, you know what I'm saying? But like I said earlier, would that really have done anything in this situation? In a lot of situations, you have women that take all the measures, all the precaution, and they still end up in situations like this.
If she filed police reports of the harassment and everything, with him being in the Army and him getting harassment charges like that, it could have. Especially with him being a sergeant. That means he got rank. A little rank.
It could have what?
Scared him away a little bit. By her filing a police report, him being in the military, him now getting charged with harassment or stalking. It could have.
Or it could have angered him even more, especially if he got demoted or something, or he felt like you messing up what I got going on. True. You never know, because you don't know people mental. You don't know what state of mind people be in. True. For real. And we have seen so many times where women make excuses, or they be like, or feel like this situation couldn't happen to me. And it's sad.
It's true.
Baskin described the process like a frog in a pot of slowly boiling water. Had Anitra been thrown right into the abuse, she would have jumped right out. But as time went on, the manipulation became an incremental cycle, finally escalating to very serious and violent threats that would have otherwise have been enough for her to get out and seek help.
Too long.
Yeah.
The picture that we wanted to paint was despite the frustrating nature of domestic violence, especially from those of us that are sitting on the outside, that is to never give up, to keep fighting, to remind the individual who's in the cycle that they're in a dangerous pot of water and that it's going to come to a boil.
Yeah.
The state requested what they deemed the only appropriate sentence for Anitra Gunn's murder. Life without the possibility of parole.
Yeah.
The judge agreed.
Yeah.
In March of 2022, DeMarcus Little was sent to prison for the rest of his natural life.
Beat that little motherfuckers.
That was the tragic case of Anitra Gunn.
That broke my heart, but yeah.
Tragic.
Yeah.
Tragic situation that could have been avoided. But unfortunately, because of the nature of some people, sometimes it's things that can't be avoided. You know, because of the mindset of one individual that's in the situation.
Rest in peace to her, though. But
Facts, most definitely rest in peace.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Hey, man, y'all spam us up in the comments. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts about it for us in the comment section down below. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We are.
Kid and C.
We are.
Ain't no time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my folks. Dollar, 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 dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar, 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 dollar. Let me watch out for my partner.